What's up, everyone? Good morning. How are we doing? I got my, trying to spill it here, my coffee with me today. A little French roast action. Got a new coffee. It was from Mother Earth at Costco. Honestly, big fan. I like the floral notes, the lighter coffees. So a coffee with me. Hope you have a coffee too, and thanks for joining me here. I know I've been away for a minute. I think this is episode 36, 37, something like that. I don't know. One of those episodes, whatever. Point is, I've been behind. I apologize, but I want to get to 100. So I'll get to 100. If I get to 100 and I don't like doing this anymore, I might not do it. I got some stuff coming up as well. Hair in my eyes. I need a haircut really bad. This is unnecessary. But I got some stuff coming up I'm excited working on, but we'll get to that later. Maybe to this video, maybe not. Just keep your eye out. If we do it, it'll be exciting. I'll let you all know. But today I want to talk about a post I saw Chris Beardsley post. I believe it's Chris Beardsley is how you say his name on Instagram. And it was about a research study that looked at the differences between high and low attempted velocity at lighter weights. And so essentially what the research group did was they controlled the load, and what they looked at was, well, one group lifted a weight really fast and one group lifted that same weight slower, and they looked at gains, specifically strength gains. And lo and behold, the group that lifted that lighter weight explosively, well, improved greater strength gains. The question is why? Well, there's a couple of reasons why, and I think it does a lot of good to break down potential reasoning. I think first and foremost, people go, well, it's velocity specific gains or whatever, you know, if you do X, Y, and Z at a velocity and you keep saying velocity, it might make something happen. I don't know. It's pretty simple physics, actually. When you move a weight faster, you have to produce more force. So if a group lifting the same weight moved a weight faster, they're producing more force than the other group, specifically peak force. So when it comes to understanding why someone got stronger from lifting light weights fast versus light weights slower, which I believe is the study, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm pretty sure that's what it is off the top of my head. So if we wonder why someone gets stronger when they lift light weights faster versus slower, well, it's because when you lift light weights fast, you have to produce lots of force. So basically you're looking at what happens when one group produces more force than the other group. Will they get better at producing more force? Right, so it's kind of like, well, I'm glad they did the study because you need those studies to help, you know, prove a hypothesis. But the physics should kind of give us a little credit or a little guidance as to what we think might happen. But what is cool about that is that it helps do two things. Well, it changes your mind in regards to how we lift. It just shows how important lifting light weights fast is. Lifting light weights fast is very beneficial. Lots of reasons why. And one of it might be because you can express high levels of force over and over again without having the fatigue of a heavy load. Everyone knows when you lift a really heavy bench press, for example, it takes a lot out of you. But you can lift a lightweight fast over and over again. Now, the total force of a lightweight fast might be less than the total force of a heavyweight lifted once or twice. But if you do enough reps, the lighter weight, you could, in theory, say that the force could be equivalent, total amount of force produced. But also, you could also just be looking at the initial force reduction off the chest, whatever it might be. The fact that it is less metabolically taxing and fatiguing with a lighter weight allows you to have that variable to play with as a coach. It is now like, well, if I have a lighter weight that isn't going to be so taxing as a heavy weight, maybe I'll use that light weight to expose ourselves to repeated stressors against max velocity movement. So work on starting strength over and over again versus just doing a heavy weight to work on starting strength or acceleration strength, whatever kind of strength. It's just taxing. It takes a lot out of you. Number two, it makes you think about what creates adaptations. If we're getting stronger with light weights because we're moving them fast, is the cornerstone of adaptation the neurological intent, the mind of actually trying to lift it fast, or is it the specific tension of the muscles, the actual force being produced in the muscles? And can we even distinguish the two, because it's the brain that, well, drives the force production, the signaling to the muscles to actually produce that force. So again, maybe it takes into consider, or you can then look at that and think about and consider the other variables that are contributing to force production. So what does that actually mean? And the application takeaway is, I think, two things. One, if we're lifting light weights fast, we can have improvements in maximal force production. That's cool. We don't need to lift super heavy weights. That's a good thing. In season, might be beneficial to maintain some max strength by lifting max or lighter weights really fast. It also makes you think about when we look at training adaptations of two different groups of people doing the same protocol, like 4 sets of 8, if one group is just trying harder on that force set of 8 than the other group, they're gonna have better adaptations. And so when you look at your athletes, do some of your athletes just lift the lighter weights faster? And if doing so, are they making more gains because of that? On the other end, other people who aren't making progress because, well, they're not lifting those lighter weights fast. Think about it like this. You have a warm-up set or a working set and you have a 4x8. Now, some people might just kind of coast through the 4x8 and some might try and explode through the 4x8. And as we know, if we explode through that 4x8, the force production is different. The velocity is different. The amount of force being produced is different. In turn, the gains and adaptations are different. So could that help explain why we see different adaptations amongst individual athletes doing the same program? Because again, it might not be the program's fault. If we think of just load being equivalent to tension and force production, we know that's not true. The speed at which you move that load is very important. So in thinking like that, you can maybe begin to look at why or why not something or someone is making the gains or not making the gains that they are. So I just wanted to share that today. I thought it was an interesting discussion, something to chew on. The importance of understanding physics, understanding that an increase in velocity means more force. And when we look at studies and research, we need to look at what's actually going on. And so often we don't think about the actual force production. Force production works as an integral, meaning that it's not average. We like to look at averages, like, oh, your average force production is this, but there's different time points of force production. Like when you lift a weight, I do a curl, I might have force production X, Y, and Z different points. Beginning might produce X amount of force, and might be moving this fast, and the speed is instantaneous. So we're actually measuring, in real life, there's forces being produced every moment. But when we like to do physics, sometimes we just take the average because it's easier. But again, when it comes to movement, there are specific areas within the movement that are very important, like a jump or ballistic movement, that initial impulse, that burst at the beginning. And so if we don't appreciate the fact that we can't just look at averages, but also the time course of force. So now I'm kind of rambling because it's my YouTube page and I get to do that. I've already had a cup of coffee, but something we can think about as well. I hope you guys enjoy. Got my corn here. Not my corn. I always call it my corn view. And I got my coffee. I hope you guys enjoy. Sorry for not putting these out recently. Trying to get it going again. And as always, if you guys like them, feel free to comment, share, and take care.